Okay, everybody, welcome. It is Wednesday evening, March 22nd. We've got a lovely class ahead. We've got a few people joining us this evening for the first time and a few others returning. So welcome. Sueli, this is your first time joining us. Bibiana, welcome. Okay, Bibiana, I thought you were Karen. Okay, so Bibiana, you are not Karen, right?
Well, my first name is Karen, but I do prefer Viviana.
When I saw this picture, I thought this is the person I met the other night. Okay.
Yes, it was
Gotcha.
me.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, so yeah, so good. I'm glad I got the right person. Excellent. So what would you like us to call you? Karen, Bibiana?
I prefer Viviana. Thank you.
Bibiana, and you are the same person I met the other day from Colombia, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you are the same person. Okay.
Yes, no worries.
All right, your camera's off. I'm like, I think that's her. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome, Sueli. Welcome, Bibiana. We are beginning. So usually when I begin a class, I give the agenda for the whole evening, so everybody knows what to expect. And this is for we use level 6B assignments. Earlier today, I added Faride and Chen to the level 6B Google Classroom. I should have done that several days ago, but that's my fault. So don't worry if I'm talking about an assignment they haven't done, because that was my fault. I didn't add you to the Google Classroom yet. I should have done that a few days ago. So don't worry, Faride and Chen.
Yeah.
All right. Let us begin here. So greetings. Tomorrow, Ramadan begins. It's a very important Muslim holiday, and Fatima will give everybody if you're not familiar with it, Fatima will give everybody just a little summary of what it's all about and what her traditions are growing up in Morocco, because she's taking these classes and her family is behind her celebrating this big holiday. So she's got a lot. If you all think you're busy right now, take a look at what Fatima's much busier this week. So Fatima's got a lot going on, and we appreciate you coming. Then we'll do what's called an anonymous peer review. Some of you are familiar with this. I take samples of students' writing and we fix little mistakes, but it's totally anonymous, which means I don't put the student's name there. So there's no crying, no hurt feelings if something is, there's some mistake somewhere. So it's totally anonymous. Then we will review this word romanticism and the story we're looking at, why when eating at your desk is forbidden. That's the story we read and what we listened to. We'll go back into the romanticism of the extended lunch break that's part of French culture, which is a contrast to the very fast, lightning speed American lunch break. Sometimes there is no lunch break in America. You work all day and get your work done as fast as you can. Whereas in French culture, they stop and take a long break in the middle. And we've learned about those cultural differences in the story we read. Then we will take our 10-minute break, and then we will finish the story, which for those of you who attend the morning classes, I stopped and we didn't finish the end of the story. I said to everybody, you can read this on your own, take care of it on your own, but for the evening class, we will finish it. There's a few pieces of that story we didn't get to. And then I will introduce the next assignment, which is this. It'll be a new word, a syllabus. I will show you an authentic syllabus from Bunker Hill Community College. If you are not familiar with the word syllabus, it'll be a brand new word for everybody. So you'll go to sleep tonight realizing you got new information. You didn't lose sleep for nothing. Okay. So let us begin. Fatima, can you give us a summary of Ramadan for everybody?
Of course. Every year, all the Muslim in the world, they have 1 month has like 30 days. We need to fast from morning till sunrise.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And
Does everybody know what that means? The verb FAST said to fast. Does everybody know what that means? Farida is nodding her head yes. Chen's nodding his head yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
okay. Then we every day, if we have a time, we meet all the family. For example, in Morocco, every dinner we need to go. If you like, you live alone in a you live alone, you have to go to your mom to to have dinner together, like in Thanksgiving. But in Muslim people, the all 30 days. Yeah. And we have to fast like 30 days, what I said. Then after that we have the big holiday, the end of Ramadan. The end of Ramadan, we make cookies, we make a nice decoration, like a Christmas is close to Christmas, because we give to each other gifts in the end of Ramadan. Yes. And that I think that's all the special thing. Then we teach the like that, like, and about religion, we teach our children Quran, some of our book, Islamic book. We read, we go to pray every day at mosque every night. Yeah, we try to finish whole the book. Like, for me, for example, every day I read like 4 page or 5 page or 6.
The whole Quran?
The whole Quran. That one.
Wow.
That one. Yeah. And we give like every day, if someone here, I don't know if we have a poor people, but my husband always give money to the mosque, or some people, you know, in my country. But in my country, every day you need to give some of your dinner to some poor people, you know, because a lot of people in our country, they don't have to eat, and you have to be nice in whole the day. In whole the month, you have to, you know, in our religion, we try to do a detox in our that's what happened this month.
It's for detoxing, like cleansing the
Detox,
body?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes, reading the book, Quran, reading a book, try to
Zoe,
pray.
I'm busy.
Wow.
Yeah, especially I know, for me, I love the part when I teach my children. I love when I decorate my home. For example, now my daughter, she doesn't want to sleep. She want me to decorate with her. Yeah, I love this part. That's all. If you have a question, you
so
can
much.
ask me if you want.
No,
to
that was
ask me.
perfect. You gave us a
You're
lot of
welcome.
information.
You're welcome.
Touch the leg.
Okay. There's a very old mosque near the city where I lived for several years. It's called the, here it is. When I lived in Guangzhou, this was the first mosque ever built in China. The mosque there's a mosque near where my son goes to school. It's very new. I'm going to send a picture of this old mosque to the whole class right now. Anyway, and here's the story. What you just said makes a lot of sense. All the beggars, the people asking for money, and we call panhandlers in America, just people standing on the street asking for money. Every Friday, they would all wait outside that mosque.
Yeah.
Guess why? Because they know that the imam is telling them, give money to the poor. They're really smart. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
they go, oh, when they get out, they definitely have to give me something because God is telling them to go. So every time if you walk by that, it was a busy street and you have the mosque all Friday. It was always the men would go on Friday afternoon and go to pray. and you would see a line of beggars at the door waiting, like, okay, I know you're coming. Okay, come on,
Yeah.
come on, come on. And that's what I remember. When
Yeah,
you said you have to give to the poor, I was like, oh, okay, now it makes perfect sense.
Yes, we happy. I'm happy because we have a lot of mosque here.
Mhm.
I have one next
Revere.
to me, next to house, like not in Lim,
Oh, in Lynn,
just 3
okay.
minutes. Yeah, and in Revere and in Chelsea, in Roxbury, we have a big mosque there. Yeah, we're happy about that.
All right. Thanks so much,
Yeah.
Fatima.
Thank you,
I didn't
teacher,
know
for
about the gift giving. I knew about the fasting. I didn't know
yes.
anything about the gift
I
giving.
will send you a picture. I will send you a picture in the end of
Yes.
Ramadan. Yes, I will send you a picture.
And we
Thank you
know
for
you're a cook,
because
so we want
you're
to see all the food
yeah.
photographs. Yes.
Like tomorrow, because first day of Ramadan, I have my big sister-in-law.
Okay, now we do it here.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're gonna go to have a dinner with her because she's a big sister for my husband, just more respectful.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna take picture there. I will send it to you. And thank you for because you asked me. Thank you for your and because you're interested. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Fatima?
Cool.
We can call
Yes,
Fatima
I
a
have
Moroccan
a
ambassador.
Station.
For it.
Yeah. How you do for the children? They are fast too or no?
It's a good question. No, for children, no. They need to be 18 years old if they can fast.
Ah, okay, interesting.
Just we
Thank
try
you.
to teach them. Yeah, just we trying to teach them we need to fast. Why? Because my daughter always she asks me why we need to fast. I'm trying to explain to her from my
Yes.
books and our religion. I try to explain to her that's all. But when she's gonna be eating, she's gonna understand by herself, like me, like mom, like.
Yes, understand. Ah, okay. Nice.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Nice. Good question. Okay. Any more questions for Fatima? Oh, Chen's got one.
Yeah. Yes, I have two questions actually. For the first one, that you have to fast in daytime, right? You cannot eat any food in daytime. But
Yes, you cannot.
you can choose to eat maybe at night, at maybe
Yes. You don't have a choice. You cannot eat till sunrise, like till sun going down.
Oh, I see. With the natural time actually, and
Yes.
the second one about the picture, the building, the appearance.
Oh, that was me. I sent that.
Yeah, yes, it's a mosque. In China, there is a minority, they are Muslim, but the mosque in China, the appearance is totally different. But could you tell me a little detail about the appearance? I don't know why they look so different.
Oh.
I can
The mosque?
Yeah, the mosque.
Yeah, because I think every every country has like different mosque. Like you can do what you want, but in here in USA, you don't have to do like a mosque in your country. You know, we're not free to do to do the same.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, I see.
But
So
you have to be you have a choice to design the mosque how you like.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
every nation can design the
Ye-
mosque. Oh, got
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So
Like
it looks
in
different.
Morocco, if you I will send you the image if you want. Morocco has different design, like Saudi Arabia has different design, but here we don't have to do a lot of design, you know, because it's not you know, it's still it's not a Muslim country.
Is
That's
this
why
one
you cannot find the difference.
yeah. Is this one original one?
No.
No. Yeah.
No, no.
Okay.
I will send you the original now in WhatsApp now.
Thank you.
That's a great, more of an architecture question. That's a great question. Oh, I have one
Thank you,
question.
Shan. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Are there, we call like in America, we call like we use a word called like denomination or sects, like different groups of the same religion. And I was wondering if I was like in let's say if I'm a Shia Muslim or I'm a Sunni Muslim, would I celebrate the holiday differently
No,
from a
the
different
same.
sect of the religion?
Yeah, we have the same, like Shia and Sunni, you said. Yeah, we have the same. We have the same religion, just a little bit different of how we believe.
No, but I mean, for Ramadan, would I do anything a little differently from one to the other? The way like
Yeah.
different, like if you have a bunch of Christians, they'll celebrate their holidays a little bit differently. The way like a Greek Orthodox would celebrate Christmas differently than a Roman Catholic versus a Baptist or whatever.
Yeah, just a little bit, but the same. But you
Okay.
have in Ramadan, you know, because we have only only one thing in Ramadan. You have that's time you're gonna eat. That time you're gonna the end of. Yeah, we have. I think all the Muslim we have one belief. Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of difference. Yeah, maybe how we celebrate, you're gonna find a little bit different how we celebrate, how we eat. Every country has a traditional food culture, but
That makes sense.
Ramadan still is gonna be the same every Muslim. Yeah.
Thank you, Fatima.
Yeah,
I
you're
realize we
welcome.
might be throwing like hard questions at you. I'm thinking,
No,
oh
no, no.
she has to, don't want her to feel uncomfortable. Like you're supposed to know everything about like all these different people in the world. That would be like unfair.
No. It's my pleasure, teacher. Wallah, it's my
Okay.
pleasure. Let me send the picture to.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Any more questions for Fatima? Okay. All right, everybody. So we're going to begin our anonymous peer review of the most recent assignment. Before I do that, I want to review the word anonymous, even though I gave the definition in the introduction. Who knows what the word anonymous means? Okay. I'm going to send it to everybody in WhatsApp. Anonymous. Anonymous.
Anonymous, I think someone don't identify.
Correct. Yes, anonymous. So I'm sending the word to everybody, the dictionary definition right now. I'm sending to everybody. Here we go. So yeah, not identified. Yes. So I'm going to show samples of students writing, but I don't show the student's name. I keep it totally anonymous. Every student has anonymity. So if you are the student who's writing, I'm highlighting to give an example of, don't say, ooh, that's me. Keep your anonymity. Stay anonymous. So don't or don't say, oh, I know, that's her, that's him. Just everyone's going to stay anonymous. For students who are looking at this assignment for the first time, I'm going to show you what it looks like on Google Classroom. And for two students, Sueli and Bibiana, you can join Google Classroom right this moment as I go over it. So this will be, we'll get a lot done here. So I'm going to go into my Google Classroom page. Here we go. Moving the video panel to the left of the screen. That's that black bar you see. And going into level 6B. So here we are. We've got this one, I posted a new assignment due April 4th, but this is the one that I'm going over. So I got most of these have been turned in. And for students who, I'm going to look at people real quick. Sueli. I don't think Sueli has joined. Sueli, no, you haven't. So Sueli, I'm going to send you an invite to Google Class, to the Google Classroom page right now. Sueli, let me know when you get it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Here we go. There you go, Sueli Fernandez. There you go. Okay, and same thing to Bibiana. Here we go. Let me know when you get it.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I put you down as Karen. That's right. So Karen is Bibiana. Okay, Ismantia. There you go. Okay, let me know when you get it. So yes, there we go. So this is the assignment. We read this story. When eating at your desk is forbidden. And here is the assignment. After listening to the podcast and reading the story, because you can read and listen, describe some of the reasons that France's labor laws pertaining to lunch breaks come from the Industrial Revolution. So it was a great, it seemed like a simple question, but it was very complicated. It involved a lot of references to modern history in the last 300 years. And it explained one aspect of culture that this American working in France was this cultural difference an American working in France was experiencing. And students were asked to write a short paragraph answering the question. So now we're going to do the anonymous peer review. Here is one student's work. And remember, the question was, so this was the prompt. How did France's labor law pertaining to lunch breaks come from the Industrial Revolution? All right. So the introduction to this student actually did a lengthy piece, much more than I asked. They actually wrote a 4-paragraph paper, which was impressive. It was about 3 times of what I asked for in the assignment. This was an introduction that they wrote. They eventually answered the question, but there were a few grammar mistakes. So I'm going to write the word grammar. I'll just write it up at the top. So we're looking for particularly grammar mistakes. Little tiny grammar mistakes. Do we have I'd like to ask if anyone wants to volunteer to read. Anyone feels like it? Astrid, Doris, anyone?
Can I?
Absolutely. Wait, was that Fatima?
Yes.
Let's give somebody else a chance. You were the star of the show at the beginning, so let's get somebody else a chance to shine here. And we'll bring back Fatima in a minute. Karen, do you feel like reading? I'm sorry, Bibiana?
Yes, okay, perfect.
Okay, go for it. So yes,
Okay.
take it away from the beginning right here, the whole idea.
Okay. The whole idea in this podcast is the different point of view of an American lady
Mm-hmm.
who is engaged with a French guy. She is questioning and in some point struggling with the production time in lunch, comparing the US culture where it's common to use the lunch time to take advantage of do your work while you eat, but the French laws are distinct and it causes a lot of difference in the work environment. And she argued with her fiance the main possible explanation for that kind of points of view.
Excellent. So the reference to the prompt, the reason I wrote that there was she mentioned there were particular laws. And for those of you who are not familiar with the assignment, in France, it's actually, if you're, when it's lunchtime, you're actually forced by law to leave your workspace. So if you're in an office, we've had students who work for French companies, particularly Haitian students, the computer who've told stories, the computer stops and they say, you must leave and come back in 1 hour or an hour and a half, which would be very, very strange in the US. So in the US, it's perfectly normal to eat lunch while you work, and it's almost like fluid, one then the other. You just grab something across the street and keep working. But so that's the cultural difference. But oh, you know what? I actually made one of the corrections right there. Viviana, when I was listening to you read, I heard you intuitively changing some of the words. I think you caught some of the little mistakes in the writing and changed it automatically, just naturally saying, wait, that doesn't sound right.
Yes, sorry.
Give us one of the little changes you made.
Okay, in the first line,
Mhm.
is the different point of view of an American, because
There you go.
as I know, an A needs an N before going to
Yes.
another vocal.
Right. So it's the double vowel, or that you can go with the double A, and American. And American. All right, so we definitely wouldn't want to put an A-N there. Anything else you want to change? I'm doing it for you, but I want to see if anybody catches it.
No, sorry.
Well, for nation, not all languages do this, but for a nationality, we would make it a capital letter. So we want to put an American. An American, right there. So there's the first, so there's a change in the first line that we want to make right there. An American. And this is sometimes, usually the grammar check will catch this for you, but sometimes you'll have to be mindful of this on your own. Okay. Anybody else see something they want to change? Any little mistake?
There is one problem I want to change.
Mhm.
After an American who engage, I think it is who engages with a French guy.
Engages. Ah, that's an interesting way to change it. Grammatically, that works, but does that tell the same story? No, the word engage can have multiple meanings. If I use this word like this, engage is the way Chen is saying, like, I'm engaged in teaching class right now, which kind of means I'm busy, or I'm engaged in cooking dinner. I'm engaged in my exercise. That's one engaging. I'm engaging in X. So like as a present tense or past perfect verb, that's one meaning. But what if I use this? What does this mean? Engage, ED.
Is it like she was engaged in the past?
Well, this is where we want to put the word into context. So Chen and Viviana don't have the benefit of having read the whole story. Which word is more appropriate in the context of this story? Doris or Fatima or Astrid or somebody who's gone through, or Gracie. Gracie, your writing was superb. Which word would we want to say? Engaged or engages?
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
engage.
Engages.
Engaged with ed.
I have Princess and Blue.
Engage.
Right. Now, what's the difference in meaning? Oh yeah, I realized Fatima and Doris answered at the same time. What's the difference?
Engaged, I would say, teacher.
Oh, engage when someone's to yes, the fiancés, the married, after married, engagement. Yes.
Right.
Engage.
So, Chen, do you see the difference right there? The different point of view of an American lady who is engaged with a French guy. And I remember nationality, let's put a capital F, French guy. So the whole, and a little irony, we use a word for this that's borrowed from French. Fiancé.
Oh,
So remember, she's the American whose fiance is French.
but
She's
teacher, but the engage is like when someone's to inside in something.
yes, it could be occupied.
Yes.
They're like, oh, Doris, I love what your story. It's so engaging.
Yes.
That's one use of the same exact word. So in context, the word can have a totally different meaning. Engaging.
Engage.
Yeah, but then if we say the person is engaged, that's more of an identity. That's like they change their status on Facebook from single to engaged.
To marry, yeah. Oh, to
Right.
engage or marry. Okay.
Yeah. So so that's that. So the word engaged, it means like their identity, like I'm off the market.
Yeah.
I'm no longer single. I am no longer, I'm taking the leap of faith with this other person. So that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
So an American lady who is engaged with a French guy, comma, that works. She is questioning any more changes we want to make in this paragraph. Anybody? Or is everybody happy with this?
Like it caused a lot of difference. That's
Let's take a look at this. Let's look at this together. Here we go. Comparing, whoops, still on this one. Okay. Comparing with the US culture, where is common to use the lunchtime to take advantage of do your work while you eat. But the French laws are distinct and it cause a lot of difference. That is one, you can definitely change that. What would you like to change, Sueli?
to put in the past.
Sure, we could put in D there. It caused a lot of difference in the work environment. I'm going to give everybody a concept right here. I don't think I've introduced in class before. This is at the end right here. We're venturing into this world called a run-on sentence. Anyone ever heard this before? A run-on sentence. So the way to think of a run-on sentence, it's like you're running on and on and on and on and on. So a sentence should have a subject and describe the subject in some capacity. So here we go. Or an independent clause. The whole idea of this podcast is the different point of view of an American lady who is engaged, ED, I didn't add that yet, with a French guy, comma, okay, she is questioning and in some point struggling with the production time in lunch. We could make that shorter, but it's okay. We could put the period here. there's the end. That's an independent clause. She is struggling with the production time of the French lunch is really what they want to say. Comparing the US culture, where it is common to use the lunchtime to take advantage of do your work while you eat, but the French laws are distinct and caused a lot of difference in the work environment. And it would make a new period, get rid of and. She, capital S, she argued with her fiance the main possible explanation for that kind of point of view. So we still have a lot of issues to work out here, but we can identify where each sentence stops and starts. So I'm going to make that change. That's going to be my change. Sueli put a D here to put the cause in past tense. Does anybody want to make any more changes? You could take one sentence and find a way to make it smoother, because some of it seems a little awkward.
For me, I want to use compared with the US culture, and
Yes, that's much better.
yeah, and
Yeah, this is a little awkward to say comparing the US culture, comma. I'm like, huh? Compared with, that's much better, Chen. Good job.
Yeah.
Now it's more clear. Compared with American culture or culture in the US. Okay, American culture. More fluid than saying the US in this context. Compared with American culture, comma.
and I also want to remove the
Mhm.
but the French. I want to remove but.
Okay. Compared with American culture, where it is common to use the lunchtime to take advantage of do your work while you eat. Yes, that's much better. The French, if we get rid of but, the capital F French. Okay, laws are distinct and caused a lot of difference. And I'm going to add an S there in the work environment. And well, it's really differences for Caitlin because she's the foreigner, she's the outsider, she's the one with the problem of having the culture shock. It's her issue. She's the American unable to adapt. Any more changes anybody want to make here? And I realized I should have put an A there. I said, oh, fiance. Ha ha ha. My misspelling of the word there. So any changes anyone else want to make? I'll take that as a no.
I have a question, teacher.
Yes, Gracie.
When you talk about advantage, take advantage or advance.
She does mean to say take advantage, but I was glad you mentioned that sentence because there's a lot, we're lacking clarity here. American culture, it's common to it. Does everybody see something awkward here where it is common? We want to say it is common to use the lunchtime to take advantage of do your work.
I would say, I don't know if this that exactly you want to say, but I would say it's common to take the long time to advance the work.
We could say that, but take
Because
advantage is
it's
more specific.
different meaning. When you advance, it's like you take the opportunity or you want to take the time to finish faster the job.
This is what's one issue with this is that it's I'm going to say, anyone ever hear this? Less is more. Less is more.
Mhm.
It's too wordy. They're trying to stuff too many words into one statement. Watch this. Compared to American culture, where it is common to, instead of saying all of this, how about I say, in American culture, it is common to work during lunch or work at the lunch break, get work done at lunch. Fewer words would be a lot more clear than more words, because this is basically what she's trying to say. Americans very often work and eat lunch at the same time, and it's normal. What the writer here was trying to say, they were trying to say too much at once. So my advice here is less is more. And then when, instead of saying causes a lot of difference, you could say cause a lot of cultural difference for Caitlin. Make more sense here. Anyway, so let's finish this peer review, anonymous peer review. All right. We got one more. This one is shorter, but I bet you we could do a lot of work with it. Here we go. So, do we have a volunteer reader for the second paragraph? Doris, go for it.
The second, that is why.
Oh, you wanted to make another change in the last one?
Oh, the second paragraph. Oh,
yeah, I'm showing it. We're moving on to the next one. I asked for a volunteer reader.
oh okay.
Would you like to read this one?
The law to go outside at lunchtime began in the Industrial Revolution when many of the employees were getting sick because there were many toxic materials and they needed fresh air. That is why it was made a law that employees go outside for fresh air, and the best time for this was lunch. It's a little bit confusing.
Right. Yeah, I can see. I love the expression on your face. You're like,
Yeah, because
well, you know what? I'm gonna. Well, tell us what you're thinking, Doris.
when the people should try to say and
By the way, this was actually a man.
them
I'm not supposed to. It's supposed to be anonymous. I just want to say, if you see mistakes and in the confusion, it's definitely a man.
is very confused because she tried to say the law that I give the law because people need to go out because need the fresh air. Because have a lot of many toxic materials to, that's why people need to go out to lunch and go out. But it's not explained really well because he talked too much the same thing, twice the same thing, and just one point. That's why I understand.
Right. Let's
a lot, but he didn't talk nothing. That I
yeah.
Yes.
Said a lot, but said nothing. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's help the writer. Here we go. Allow to go outside.
Begin.
There were many toxic chemicals. They needed. Okay. So we've got. Remember last time I think I was talking about shifting pronouns, confusing, mismatched pronouns. They needed fresh air. Okay. So I'm assuming that's the staff, the employees. And then I say,
The
it was made a law.
beginning is very confused because the law, he start just the law go outside at lunchtime begin. I think it's very confused because you can start a different way. In
Okay,
French, in the factory, the people that work, he had in French in the factory has this law. People need to go outside. I think it's
a law. Well, what they said was a law to go outside at lunchtime. Let's be a little more succinct,
yes,
because we learned that, well, that's even the title of the story, when eating at your desk is forbidden. Let's say a law regulating where who can finish this for me? Guide my fingers and I'll type. Or Doris, you could finish for me.
go
What
lunch,
is this law forcing people to do?
to go lunch to take a break lunch.
Well, that's basically what the person already said.
Outside, go to outside
A
lunch.
law, because remember, we're talking about who? Workers, employees. A law regulating where
By employee.
employees, I'm using a more advanced vocabulary word, not they, them. A law where regulating where employees could eat lunch in France,
Employer.
something like that. Or the French law regulating or forcing. A law regulating where employees could eat lunch in France began. So a little more this is where we need a little more detail is needed. Began in the Industrial Revolution, when many of the employees were getting sick because there were toxic chemicals. That's better. That tells a better story. That's a good start. Okay, so Doris said rewrite the introduction. And I think that was a very good idea, Doris. Good job. I circled right here, they needed fresh air. That is why it was made a law. Any suggestions? Anybody right here?
Maybe we can change it. That is why we made a law. They made a law.
Okay, that is why they made a law. And it's still they. We can say they. That's a little what's called, does anybody know this word? Ambiguous.
Oh, yeah,
Who knows what the word ambiguous means?
confusing.
Yeah, it's not specific. They, them. Who are they? Who are those people? It sounds like a law just fell from the sky. It's like a law came up out of the ground one day. It said, okay, we're gonna. It's like it's like magically all these French people in a factory said, oh, it's lunchtime. Let's just go walk around the block and eat our lunch. So
Maybe why the law was made.
why the law was made. Let's use more vocabulary. Who are people that, what's a word for people who make laws? Many words.
Yes.
I'll give you, what's a word for the group, when you get paid, there's this, who takes a lot of your money? And then once a year, they give some of it back.
The government.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that is why the government
Lawyer.
or the French government or what's another word for law governments in this context? We say that
Lawyer.
Not lawyer, but law makers. That's one of the most simple phrases for, that's actually a real phrase. Who are the people who like make laws? Law makers. It's actually a real phrase. It's not a made up phrase. Lawmakers, government, or there's another fancy word. Tell me if you know this one.
Yes,
Legislators.
yeah.
So government, people who, you know, make laws, legislators, that sort of thing. Those who govern, that sort of thing. So instead of saying they, when we say they, this sounds like the workers themselves made a law. So that's why when I read that, I was getting confused. Who made this law? Because we learned exactly we learned in the story who had a lot of political power at this time, because not everybody was happy about the law. And we have another problem right here. They needed fresh air. Who is they?
Workers.
Workers, much better. Good job, Bibiana. So we're talking about the workers. Good. So in this case, the workers needed fresh air.
Yes.
There we go. And the government made a law, or legislators made a law, whatever you choose, that employees go outside for fresh air, and the best time was at lunch. Yeah, I don't think we need to do too much more with this. All right. Good work, everybody. So this was collective proofreading. Nice job. Let's move along. All right. So, this is some of the, if we finish everything, it's 9:30, 9:30, 1 hour into class. Guess what we do when we're an hour into class? We take a break, everybody. It is break time. All right. Yes, I'll find the 10-minute stopwatch. Okay, everybody, grab a cup of coffee, tea, whatever is going to keep you awake until 10:30, and I'll see you shortly. And I'll put the stopwatch on the screen.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're back, we're back, we're back, we're back. Break is over. Okay, let's wrap up this thing. All right. So we did the 2 edits of those paragraphs, and I'm going to do a quick check just to make sure everyone has returned. All right. Bring down the video panel. Okay. Yes, I see Doris, I see Faride, Grace, Swelly, Bibiana, Chen. Alive and well?
Yeah.
Excellent, beautiful.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to go back to the romanticism aspect of looking at the French lunch break. Mentioned this yesterday. I'm going to show this again. So the late great travel writer and celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain, he was one of the people who you could say also took part in romanticizing Parisian food culture. Once I play this, I'm going to ask students to recall some of the things that brought about this particular culture. Particularly, I'll ask Doris, Fatima, Gracie, and a few others to recall a few of these things. So here's part of this romanticism. When you look at a street corner in the middle of Paris and see all the tables and chairs, there's a reason for all those tables and chairs, setting it apart from other major cities in the world. So here we go.
It's no accident that the institution, the cafe, is so closely associated with the French. But what do we have here? We have a cup of coffee and a ham sandwich. Basically a row of chairs all pointing in one direction. Little table staring out into the street. What a simple thing. Sit in a chair and observe. The simplest of life's pleasures. And yet for most Parisians, or many Parisians, this can be an afternoon's entertainment. And I think this gets right to the kernel of what distinguishes the French. What are the French famous for? Perfume that smells good, sense of smell. Food that tastes good, sense of taste. Art, architecture, visual sense. Okay, there's really no explanation for their crap pop music, but 3 out of 4 is not bad. These are all matters of the senses. It's their attitude towards pleasure and sensuality, and food in general being the best example. In the English-speaking world, there's always been a certain ambivalence about taking pleasure at the table. There's been this notion, this puritanical notion, that if you take too much pleasure in your food, that it might somehow lead to bad character, might lead to harder stuff, like sex, for instance. I think the French have always understood that, yeah, hell yeah, it does lead to sex, and it should. That residual sense of food being good, food being important, food being worth waiting for, and food being worth spending time with, eating, is and should be a joyous occasion. As should the use of all your senses. So America, perhaps you should try it. Maybe duck out of the office when the boss isn't looking, or call in sick for that boring meeting. Pull up a chair at a local joint. Grab a tasty beverage and eat a ham sandwich. Really eat a ham sandwich. You just may find you not only love the French again, but you may also love life and ultimately the world.
So, bearing in mind, some people in this class right now have finished the story, while others have not. Those who have, what is not being explained with this romanticism of the culture, eating outside, the romanticism? So kind of a refresher from yesterday morning. Doris, Fatima, Gracie, what's not being explained in this? Or Friday.
Teacher, he don't say nothing about the romanticism, really, but he say how he sense when he take a small sandwich for the to hang, and he can see all around him, and how he see or watch the another people, um, may your life in this time.
Well, Faride, now you didn't get a chance to read the rest of the story, so you're observing what he's saying. What he's talking about is romanticism.
Okay.
But
Okay.
hang on one second. Hang on one second. Let's get Gracie. What is he not telling us? What parts of these culture is he leaving out?
I can understand, teacher, what exactly you're asking.
Okay, I know it's late at night. So what are some of the reasons why people in that part of the world will sit and eat their lunch or spend their time outdoors and there's so many tables and chairs everywhere?
Oh, it's that we were talking.
Right, but remember, the reason I'm asking, we have two different classes right now. Exactly one half of the people here have read the story and the other half have not. So Faride, so that's why I'm asking people who have to explain to people who have not. So for instance, Bibiana, Sueli, Shen, and Faride have no idea what I'm asking. You, Gracie, have read the entire story and written a beautiful piece about it. So Gracie, what's missing? So Faride is saying, yeah, he's talking about sitting and watching the people. I get it. So fill Faride in on what's the history of why people do what they do there.
You remember, because as we were talking before, is in the past they had to leave the I say office, the places where they work at time for at the long time, and they have to go out. And imagine they needed to get a space to share, to sit, to talk, and to do something. Is because of that they have that kind of places there.
Okay, Faride, do you understand what Gracie is saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
basically, there's a law starting from 1894 forcing people to leave their place of work and go outside.
Yes.
And sometimes when the weather's bad,
Yes.
and what gets really what we started doing yesterday morning is
They take the time for relax for the
well,
next
is it well, okay, Gracie, is it because they're taking time to relax?
No, they taking time for lunch and then to continue being in lunch if they don't want it, just to be there.
Oh.
Here's the longer part of the story. Let's if we go back to this aspect that we're looking, or this section of the story from the reading right here. Here we go.
You know that French is they have the weather like us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They have that kind of
it can get cold. They can get pretty
cold. Yes.
So, but here's what we're looking at. Where the reason why people, this is the reason right here. Actually, Bibiana, would you read what I'm underlining right here?
The first one?
Yeah, just where I'm gonna underline in pink. So this is a professor was interviewed right here. As the economy developed.
As the economy developed, the distance between someone's residence and the workplace increased. More and more workers were spending most of their day stuck inside workplaces. Now workplaces in the
Sí, ahí yo lo vi un poco, lo oí,
1890s,
pero no hay
as you
manera
might
de lo
imagine,
Hang on one
Gracias.
second. Gotta mute one person. Oh, you're good. Okay, yeah, keep going, Bibiana, sorry.
okay, now workplaces in the 1890s, as you might imagine, were health hazards. Thermometer makers got mercury poisoning, matchbook markers got
Bossy jaw.
pussy jaw. There was dust,
Mhm.
there were fumes.
Exactly. So to make a long story short, what we were looking at yesterday is during the Industrial Revolution, most of these factories were pretty nasty places to work. So they would the workers to leave, and they were forcing the workers to get out. Basically, everybody out, everybody out. We're cleaning up. We're opening the windows. We got to clear the dust out. Now, what we learned on Monday, most of these workers, for those, actually 3 people were not here on Monday. So actually, if you know the answer, don't say anything. Fride, Bibiana, Chen, and Sueli. In the 19th century, the late industrial revolution, were most factory workers men or women? Take a guess. Take a guess. Take your very best guess.
Is that a question?
Yes, just take a guess. Men or women, these factory workers.
Man, I think.
Anybody else want to take a guess? Okay, so that is wrong.
It's the women.
They were women. Women, tell us why, Doris. The answer is this.
Much money.
Yes, they were cheaper. It was cheaper to hire women.
Yes.
That has not changed one bit. So yes, much cheaper to staff a factory with women than men. So here is some archival footage circa 1900 of a French factory. So no sound, but there it is. All day long, work, 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 work. Get those products made. This is some type of garment factory. Whatever the man is doing on the floor is making sure they're observing what the women are doing. So the women are coming into work. Quickly, 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 get to work, work all day. Go, 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 go.
Chimbo.
Yep. So that's the life of that's factory life. So if that is your routine all day, perspective. If you're this is a picture from the UK, so not too far away. So you imagine you're a woman working in one of these factories all day, and then all of a sudden, there's a law that says you have to get out to go eat lunch. And the question I wrote there was something we discussed yesterday morning. What might be an initial problem? Chen, you grew up not too far from this world. Have you ever been to the city of Dongguan?
I have been to the city Guangzhou, Shenzhen, but not Dongguan.
Dongguan, pretty close. If you go to the Foxconn, you know where the Foxconn factory is in Shenzhen.
Yes, yeah,
So
manufacture products.
Yeah, if anybody has one of these, it's an iPhone. They come from Shenzhen, all of them, except some come from what's that other city? Now I forgot the name of the other city. Most have traditionally come from Shenzhen. All those factory workers making iPhones all day long, women, all women. I'm not making this up. After 2011, the Foxconn factory had to put nets outside their factory. Guess why? Chen, tell them why. What happened in the Foxconn factory in Shenzhen in 2011? You were probably in high school.
Yeah, they jump to.
Yep.
They jump.
A group of women making iPhones all day inside this miserable factory climbed to the top of the building and started jumping off. committing suicide one by one. Boom, 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 boom. So they put nets outside the factory to make sure people didn't leave. So the idea, this world of really tough factory work, all women who are paid very low wages. It's not hard to imagine. It didn't really go away. It just shifted from one country to the next. So imagine you're in that situation. You're a woman, you're working side by side with other women in a tough factory. And then the country makes a law that says, get out, go eat your lunch outside now. It's a little bit different from the romanticism of sitting on a park bench in France. But I put 3 questions right here. First one, what were some of the problems with Article 9 of the French Labor Code? And then bring it to 2020 and 2021. How did COVID change lunch culture in France? So I'm going to ask these 2 questions right here. One, what were some of the problems with Article 9 of the French Labor Code? And 2, how did COVID change lunch culture? I think that's probably all we'll have time for tonight, but you can figure out the rest when you listen on your own. So here we go. We're going to go into the story. So what were some of the problems with this new law? We're picking up where we left off yesterday. So for Doris and Fatima, this is perfect. Doris, Gracie, and Fatima, this is perfect for you because we're picking up exactly where we left off. Here we go.
That you eat better if you're not
Just let's point out, all men, the seamstresses would taking up the habit of bringing in their already prepared.
There it is. Okay, so I got to find the spot.
So people would spill over into flush toilets.
Mechanical ventilation wasn't really a thing, so instead they decided to open the windows.
We get the dirt out. When can we do that? What is the best time to do it? Well, it's when people usually eat.
Okay, here we go. Why there's this law? Factories were dirty. Factories were rushed. Here we go. I got to find this spot. Sorry, everybody. It's going to take me a minute to find the spot in the story. Once we do, it'll all make sense. I just realized the Foxconn suicides that was 2010. The suicides were not 2011. I'm getting old. Okay, here we go.
Excuse me, teacher. I didn't understand what is the thing that they put around the building?
Nets, N-E-T-S. Chen, how about you give Bibiana some detail? N-E-T-S, nets. Nets, like giant nets to catch people from jumping.
Oh, that prevent people jump from the building to keep their life at the above the ground, to the net to catch up the people when they jumping.
Yes. So yeah, so big tall building, people start jumping off to commit suicide. So they put nets around the building to prevent that from happening. And the nets are still there today.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for the follow-up question, Bibiana. Okay, here we go.
Workers' life expectancy. More and more workers were spending most of their day stuck inside workplaces,
Now, workplace in the 1890s, as you might imagine, were health hazards.
Thermometer makers got mercury poisoning, matchbook makers got phossy jaw.
There was dust, there were fumes.
And it wasn't just the toxic chemicals in factories.
Even department stores, they discovered that there were more microbes per cubic feet than outside.
People worried about workers' life expectancy. Lack of fresh air was seen as a culprit.
The saying was that we have to flush the work sites as we flush toilets.
Mechanical ventilation wasn't really a thing, so instead they decided to open the windows.
We get the dirt out. When can we do that? What is the best time to do it? Well, it's when people usually eat.
Lunchtime. And so legislators passed a new decree.
Article 8 said that work sites had to be ventilated during eating breaks.
Shut down the machines.
And Article 9 said work sites had to be evacuated during eating breaks.
I'm pausing right here. So here's the law exactly. Article 8 says, and it's still law today, work sites had to be ventilated. Ventilated means air. Article 9 says they have to be evacuated. People must leave. That is unchanged. It still is part of the labor law in France. Article 8 and Article 9.
Eating breaks.
Get the people outside and open the windows to let the air in. That was the big public health insight of 1894. And man, was it controversial.
So this I didn't fully explain yesterday morning. Controversial. Fatima, do you remember the word controversial? Jen, are you familiar with this word controversial?
Yes.
Yes, and it means the topic or the thing is argued by people.
Excellent. Yes. So so basically there's this new law, and a lot of people really did not like the law. So this is where the Romanticism has a different perspective. Today, the French look at their culture of going outside to sit on the street corner to eat their lunch as really enjoying their life. But in 1894, many people hated it. So here's the controversy. Let's take a look.
So people would spill over into the street, which became a problem in itself.
Which led to other problems.
Crowded streets, littered parks, harassment of women in the streets. The first women's strike, actually, by the seamstresses was about the right to eat in their workplace.
A female labor inspector commented in her yearly report for 1901, the enforcement of this law, quote, appears tyrannical to the women and girls who, living far from their workplace, have taken up the habit of bringing in their already prepared lunch.
They wanted to go back because they thought that eating in the streets was not seemly, and eating in restaurants was too expensive for them.
What was the argument on the other side? Was there some very determined immunologist? Was there a Tony Fauci of France who was like a czar of the hygiene or something?
No. It had much to do with the political structure in France. You know, it's very centralized. It also happens that there was a heavy deputation of doctors in the National Assembly.
So this tells us a lot more. I didn't show this part in class yesterday, but those of you who read the entire story, why did this law stick and why is it still in law today? Many of these lawmakers were doctors. So this law, in the vein of public, in the interest of public health, brought about by doctors, seems to make a lot of sense. But let's go back to that question I underlined right there. What were some of the problems with Article 9 of the French Labor Code? So just now we looked at multiple problems. Who can identify some of them? What were some of those problems? And the law being, everybody has to evacuate, get out of the factory to go eat lunch, like these two ladies circa 1920 are doing. Friede, what would some of those problems be?
Is for Article 8 and Article 9 is for the work, the work, or the people need, or the fabric need open the window for.
Well, the question is not what the law is, but what are the problems with the law?
It's for Article 9. Article 9.
That's the name of the law, but what's one of the initial problems? Doris, can you identify some of the problems? Remember, most of them are women, the workers who have to go outside to eat their lunch.
I think maybe breed problem. I don't know.
Let's take another look at it.
Okay.
Here we go. We're going to go back to it. Here we go. So this is where stopping and starting. Here we go. So the question is, what were some of the problems?
Work sites had to be evacuated during eating breaks.
Get the people outside. Other problems.
Crowded streets, littered parks.
Here we go.
I didn't hear. Well, cried.
He said.
Yes, the cry.
All right. I'll play it real quick, then I'll ask everybody to identify it. Here we go. Play it real quick. Here we go.
Yes.
To be ventilated during eating breaks.
Shut down the machines.
And Article 9 said work sites had to be evacuated during eating breaks.
Get the people outside and open the windows to let the air in. That was the big public health insight of 1894. And man, was it controversial.
So people would spill over into the street, which became a problem in itself.
Which led to other problems.
Crowded streets, littered parks, harassment of women in the streets. The first women's strike, actually, by the seamstresses was about the right to eat in their workplace.
A female labor inspector commented in her yearly report for 1901, the enforcement of this law, quote, appears tyrannical to the women and girls who, living far from their workplace, have taken up the habit of bringing in their already prepared lunch.
They wanted to go back because they thought that eating in the streets was not seemly and eating in restaurants was too expensive for them.
All right. So does everybody see right there the answer to the question?
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the problems?
Yes.
So there we go. So if we identify some of the problems, Gracie, tell us what some of these problems are.
The crowded street, they are all of the street at the same time. And the problem with the food, because as they have been convenient, they wanted to go back to their houses to eat, and they were living at long distance.
Mhm. There we go. So streets are crowded. Where are they going to go? Can anyone else identify some of the problems?
Yeah, there are three problems mentioned in this article. The
Yes.
first one, girls, is said crowded street, and the
Mhm.
second one is littered parking.
Yeah.
I remember. And the third one is sexual harassment.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, Chen, you nailed it. All three. Beautiful listening, Chen. Yeah. So garbage, people are just throwing garbage
Yes.
around in the parks.
Mhm.
Problem number one. Second problem is it's too crowded. Where are people going to go? And then we see the infrastructure over time built. So gradually, the presence of tables and chairs, the city, essentially government told people you must go outside. So all these, imagine hundreds of women are leaving these factories. What are they going to do? You want us to just stand in the middle of the street and eat our sandwiches, or what do you want us to do? So essentially, Paris became this city of tables and chairs on the sidewalk. And today we look at this as a romantic city. So that's the other perspective. Oh, it's so nice. You can sit and look at the people walk by. Let's go on vacation. But in the Industrial Revolution, this was far from romantic. People were angry. Why are we forced to go outside to eat our lunch? And the harassment of women. Most of these, as we saw in this, as we saw in the this archival footage. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so most of these workers were young women who had to put up with, who knows what, wandering the streets of a tough town. All these women flood onto the sidewalks, and these women say, you know what, we don't feel safe. We don't feel comfortable just going outside. We're being harassed and we have nowhere to eat. You're forcing us to leave our place of work. We're miserable. We're angry. Why are you making us do this? And it got so bad, the first women's strike were factory workers, and they were striking. They were on strike because they wanted the right to go back inside to eat their lunch where they felt safe and comfortable. So what we looked at Monday morning was how this civil dispute, of women losing the right to eat indoors, transformed over time to part of where sitting and eating outside became this romantic, beautiful celebration of French culture. And over time, it would change. But now we know it's a much more complex story. But anyway, that's what we talked about yesterday morning. But we'll end tonight with this question. 2020, the culture of the restaurant, the cafe, it's gonna change in France. How is it gonna change? And the question I put here is, how did COVID change lunch culture in France? There's another aspect. It's another twist to the story. We'll take a look at that and then we'll finish with a quick breakout room. So here we go. So we have this established norm. Everyone in France goes outside to eat their lunch. Got it. That's normal there. But 2020 will change everything.
What was the argument on the other side? Was there some very determined immunologist? Was there a Tony Fauci of France who was like a czar of the hygiene or something?
No. It had much to do with the political structure in France. It's very centralized. It also happens that there was a heavy deputation of doctors in the National Assembly.
Doctors armed with legislative power in an assembly that was, just let's point out, all men. the seamstresses would protest for 10 years before they'd get some exception to the law. But meanwhile, restaurants and workers started to adjust, and people's food habits started to change.
The moments in the day when the French eat are extremely codified. I mean, you have breakfast between 7 and 8:30, lunch between noon and 1:32. That you can observe throughout the 20th century.
But did the law, you feel, solidify that?
I think it does, yeah. One of the aspects that has been neglected in the research on eating times in French history is the impact of the law.
I've definitely had this conversation with my fiance because at home we have to decide how we eat, when we eat.
Again, our listener, Caitlin.
And my eating snacks at random times was not conducive to his idea of set meal times. And so he's definitely tried to convince me that this is the better way to go. It hasn't worked yet.
It hasn't.
And of course, and for everybody not familiar with the story, this is Caitlin, the American living in France, adjusting to this culture, not understanding the full story about why they do what they do.
It hasn't worked?
No.
So what if any arguments has he made?
Well, the whole idea that you eat better if you're not snacking, you appreciate the food. Food is meant to be shared with conviviality and you have to sit down and enjoy it. I hear that. I just don't buy it.
Notice the arguments that Caitlin's fiancé does not make. He doesn't say that the reason French adopted this approach is because mechanical ventilation hadn't been invented yet and they needed to protect worker hygiene. He doesn't make an argument about work at all. His argument is about food and the values around eating it. Martin says this is the great misunderstanding of most French people today, to think that the French lunch break was invented to protect the lunch.
I mean, the reason why eating was regulated had nothing to do with the actual content of the plate or so, and everything with the environment in which the meal was taken.
So maybe the way to help Caitlin with her workplace cultural challenge was to make a case for the French lunch break that she had not heard before. Not about the importance of food and not about the nature of being French, but hard, cold research about why a lunch break outside the job is better for work. The only question was, would Caitlin buy it?
I'm going to skip this little section, but I'm going to go into how culture changed after COVID. Here we go.
The government had closed restaurants. It was telling...
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Team needs help keeping up. No problem. Join the thousands of girls.
That's a commercial. Ignore the commercial.
Each week that use Basecamp. It's the all-in-one place solution for organizing and collaborating. Keep it together. Put it in Basecamp. To learn more, visit basecamp.com/NPR.
Okay, so to finish up, you have this very unique culture where everybody goes outside and has an extremely long hour-and-a-half lunch break in the whole country. To them, it's perfectly normal. It changes in 2020. COVID messes with their habits. How do they adjust?
The virus is hitting Europe with its full force.
This is Rough Translation. I'm Gregory Warner.
Back with various restrictive measures to control COVID spread. NPR's Eleanor Beardsley has more.
In February of 2021, deaths from COVID-19 in France were on the rise.
President Emmanuel Macron is said to be conflicted as he huddles with scientific advisors. He knows
the government had closed restaurants. It was telling workers to stay at home.
Toujours sous la menace d'un troisième confinement face aux nouveaux variants, différents scénarios sont toujours.
And so perhaps it was inevitable that the lunch break law, born in one public health crisis, was suspended in another. France would no longer require people to leave work during lunch. And for some conservative commentators,
c'est une règle qui...
This was cause for celebration.
C'est-à-dire qu'un pays où la loi te dit où est-ce que tu dois déjeuner, donc tu dois le faire dans une...
Why should the government regulate eating? They said this is typical bureaucratic overreach, which Martin did not like very much.
I felt it was my responsibility as a historian, but also as a citizen.
Martin feared that President Macron, heading into an election, might appease the conservatives by abolishing this law permanently. And Martin, as an historian, had seen how culture change can come in times of crisis. So he sat down at his computer to research the reasons that workers would still need this piece of the labor code in the 21st century.
So Martin, he's the professor, the history professor, explaining why this law is what it is. He likes the law. He sees it as part of a tradition in the country. And he tells a story at the end that he met his wife during an extremely long lunch break, which is a nice story. But COVID almost completely did away with this law that had been existing for about 100 years or so. I'm going to put everyone in a quick breakout room. It's time. The best way to practice your English is for the teacher to go away. So more English, less teacher talking. That's the whole idea. All right, here's the question. How did COVID change lunch culture in France? So we learned about how the Industrial Revolution created this new culture where everybody goes outside. How did COVID change everything? Quick breakout rooms. I'll put you all in one breakout room. Basically, I'm removing myself. So here we go. Everybody join a breakout room real quick. How did COVID change lunch culture in France? Join the breakout. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, 2 breakout rooms, two. So I'll add a room. Okay. 2 breakout rooms. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, join your breakout rooms now.